everyone! I'm so glad that you're deciding to join me on this lovely Monday for some math. Grab your booklet, a pencil, find a quiet place to work, and let's get started checking over our math, working through our math, or getting some help with our math. All right, grade 5, let's get started with Monday's math. So today I have the daily math for Monday and Tuesday for you, and we're going to work through it right now. So it says to complete the pattern. So when you look here, can you tell what this pattern might be? So I see a pattern, and it is an increasing pattern. So it goes 1, 4, 16, 64. And what it's doing, each time the pattern increases, it's multiplying by 4. Because 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. And then what would 64 times 4 be? So we have to figure that out. I'm going to move up here, and we're going to do 64 times 4. Okay, 4 times 4 is 16. 60 times 4, so 6 times 4 is 24. And it's going to be like 240. This is a 10, so it would be 256. 256. Okay, now my next one, I'm going to move on to my next one. My next part of the pattern, I have to multiply 256 by 4. So I'm going to go over to my margin here. I have some workspace, 256, and I'm going to multiply it by 4. So 256, 6 times 4 is 24. I'm going to do Grandma Grandpa's way. You can do partial products if that makes sense for you. I'm going to put my 2 10s up there so I remember to add them in. 4 times 50 would be, well, 4 times 5 is 200. 4 times 50 is, 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 50 is 200. So I add in those extra 2 10s, so it would be 220. You know what, I'm going to put those 2 10s here and my 200s up there. I'm going to cross this out so that I know I've dealt with it. 2 times 4 is 8. 200 times 4 is 800. Now I have 2 extra hundreds to add in there. It would be 1,024. And these little spots are too small. So I don't know who could write 1,024 there. Maybe a couple of the grade 4s could. Okay, they have small writing. I'm going to cross this out because I've dealt with it. Now I need to do 1,024. And what do I need to do with it? Well, my pattern rule is multiply by 4. So I'm going to go 1,024 and I'm going to multiply it by 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. I'm going to put my extra 10 up there so that I know to keep track of it. 20 times 4 is 80. I have 1 extra 10, so I'm going to have 9 10s here. 2 10s times 4 is 8 10s, and I have 1 extra 10, so I added it in. I'm trying to keep them lined up here. My 9's a little wonky, but I have to make sure I'm keeping it lined up with my 10s. Otherwise, I'm going to get confused. 4 times 0 is 0, but we do need to put the 0 there because it's a placeholder. And 4 times 1,000 is 4,000. So it's 4,096. A little bit of a math workout to start your day. All right, or afternoon. Now it says number 2, what is the rule for the following pattern? So we look, 700, 689. So that looks like they subtracted, so if we subtract 10 from 700, we get 790. And one more, so I think this is minus 11. Subtract 11. Let's check the next number and see if maybe that's our pattern. It's definitely a decreasing pattern. Now, 689, if we subtract 10, that's 678. Or sorry, 79, and one more is 678. So yep, minus 11. That seems to be, it seems to be decreasing by 11. Let's make sure. So 678 to 667, so 678 subtract 11, so think subtract 10 is 668, and one more, yeah, the rule seems to be subtract 11. So decrease by 11. On to number 3. So this is algebra, think mashup math. So you are trying to solve for an unknown. Imagine that this is a mashup math. You guys seem to be very good at those. So if you have on one side of the equal sign, remember when we do mashup math, whatever's on one side of the equal sign, if we want to find a mystery, we do the opposite. So my mystery number is B. So 6 times something is 54. So to figure out my mystery number, I'm going to go 54. And what's the opposite of multiply? Right, divide. 54 divide by 6. 54 divided by 6 is 9, because 9 times 6 is 54. So B is 9. I don't know why I yelled B, but I was excited. Okay, number 4. Is this a growing, shrinking, or repeating pattern? So let's look. 700, 698, 696, 694, 692. Well, this pattern is shrinking or decreasing. This book uses the word shrinking, but I know that my grade 5s know the word decreasing and know what it means because we've covered that in science and math. All right, probably in ELA too. So at number 5, it says write the first 3 numbers for this pattern rule. Start at 75 and add 15. So our first number is 75. It's telling me to start at 75. 75 plus 15, okay, think 75 plus 10 is 85. 5 more is going to be 90. Now I go to 90. 90 plus 10 is 100. And 5 more, because we're adding 15, is 105. And those are my first 3 numbers. Actually, really, I'm starting to like patterns. When I was in school, I did not like patterns. So I understand if you don't, but hopefully you're starting to get them too. The more you practice them, the better. So when I was in grade 5, I didn't like patterns. They confused me. But now that I've practiced a little bit more, they make sense. So by the time I got to high school, it made sense. Hopefully you don't have to wait till you're in high school and they're making sense now or starting to. All right, we're moving on to Tuesday, even though it's Monday. Put the following numbers in order from greatest to least. Oh, you guys have got this. So remember, these are just like the place value for decimals. Yes, just because the decimal's there. It's just like regular numbers. So if this was 223, 332, their value is like that. So once the decimal point, 2.23, we don't say 2.23, we say 2.23. 3.32, 2.32, and 3.22. This feels like a Dr. Seuss book. Put the numbers from greatest to least. So we find the greatest. So the greatest ones are going to be 1. We first look at the 1 spot. So I have these 2, and they start with 3 1s. So those are greater than the 2s. And I look 3.32 and 3.22. The greater one is going to be 3.32. Breezy breeze blue. And 3.22, 3.22, again, Dr. Seuss, cheesy cheese freezy leaves blue. Okay, I've been reading a lot of the book Fox in Socks by Dr. Seuss to my kids, and this is reminding me of that. Sorry, distracting. 3.32, 3.22, my next ones are going to be ones with 2 in the 1 spot, because we already did the 3s. I'll cross those out. So 2.32 and 2.23. Well, the greatest would be the one, you look at this spot, and this one has a 3 and this one has a 2. So imagine this is money, $2.32 versus $2.23. $2.32 would be the greater one, 2.23. Okay, now we're going to move on to this one. It says multiply. 45 times 15. Now you guys have lots of strategies you've been using for this. You also have a strategy you can use with tens and multiples of 5. So I'm going to let you decide how you do this. I'm going to model it with partial products because I find that's the easiest way other than box window for people to understand it. All right, so 45. Again, there's some shortcuts you could be using for this. Go for it. So I'm going to start with 5 times 5 is 25. And again, I'm doing partial products, so I should probably give myself more room because I know these get long. So 45 times 15. And remember, in grade 5, you're allowed to use any strategy that's comfortable for you. 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, 5 times 40, I'm going to put my 10 there. 5 times 40 5 times 4 is 20, so 5 times 40 is 200. Now I move on to my tens. 10 times 5 is 50. 10 times 40, I just put a 0 here, and I do 10 times 4. 10 times 4 is 40. And I had my 0 there as a placeholder. Now I add this all up. I have to move my camera because, oh my goodness, this is a lot of numbers. 5, 2 plus 5 is 7, and 200s plus 400s is 600. 675. All right, we're on to the next one, Madeline. Madeline spends about 1.5 hours playing the piano every week. How much does she play in 10 weeks? So all we have to do is 1.5 times 10, and I'm going to show you a trick. When you're multiplying decimals by tens, you just have to move that decimal place. So if we're multiplying by 110, we're going to take this decimal and move it up here. So it's going to be 15, because my decimal is going to go, oh, sorry, I moved wrong way. I'm going to move it this way. I was dividing. Sorry, you're going to move that decimal this way, and now it's going to be 15. 15 point. I've been doing dividing in my head a lot, so that was division for multiplication. Sorry to confuse you guys. You want to move that decimal point that way, because it's almost like adding a 0, okay? And then pushing your number that way, just like multiplying by 10 without a decimal. Okay, write 7,644.3 in expanded form. So we start with 7,000 plus 600 plus 40 plus 4 plus 0.3. Done. Make sure you have the 0, because then it makes more sense. If you just put 0.3, that point can get lost and people might get confused. All right. Multiply 4.5 times 10. Now I have a chance to make this confusion better. Remember, when I'm dividing, I would move it this way, but I'm multiplying, so I'm going to move this decimal point just over like that. So 4.5, and I'm going to take my point, and I'm going to move it here. So now it's 45. Hope that's clear as mud. All right, can you solve this fractions problem? So for this one, it's asking you to create a rectangle that is 1/3 red, 3/8 blue, and has 4 yellow parts. The rest are green. So let's do it. I brought some markers. I'm prepared. So 1/3 red. So again, these are, oh, there might be a bit of a problem with my marker. I grabbed a red one, but it's not red because I have a 3-year-old and she mixes my markers up. Okay, so it's not quite red, it's pink, but it's fine. So 1/3 red. Now, I am going to break this into thirds. So look, I have 1, 2, 3. So 1/3, if I break it into thirds, 1/3 is going to look like this. Okay, and remember, we're breaking it all into different squares, and that's fine, because equivalent fractions, or you can break up a whole into many different ways and it'll still make sense. 3/8 blue. So now we have to figure out how we could break this into groups of 8. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3 squares represents an 1/8, right? Because I've taken this and there's one group, one group, one group, one group, one group, one group. So there's 8. 3 squares represents 8. Now I can't go this way because I already shaded in this one, but I can count 1, 2, 3. All right, and do you see how even though we have, oh, I need 3/8. Sorry, so this is 1/8. Now I have to do 2/8 and 3/8. All right, now I've done 3/8 because each 1/8 is 3 squares. So now I have 1, 2, 3/8. All right, and 4 yellow parts. So when we see 4 yellow parts, probably just 4 yellow squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. The rest is green. So, what fraction represents green? Well, we know that 3 squares is 1/8. So green could be 1/8. We also know that there's 3 squares out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What's 8 times 3? 8 times 3 is 24. So it's 3 out of 24, 3 24ths. You could also do it that way. Okay, or it's 1/8. All right, let's go to the next one. I'm going to switch to the whiteboard view for this double-digit long division. So for our first one, we're doing 6,375 divide by 25. So we start by looking at our number, 25. Does it go into 6? It does not. So now I can go 0 times, because it's good to hold that place. 25 times 0 is 0. Subtract for the 6. Now, bring down this 3. 25 goes into 63, so let's think. 2 times 25 is 50. So it goes in 2 times, because 3 times 25 is 75. So that won't work. Has to be less than. So it's right in between these two. So it's 50. It's 2 times. 25 times 2 is 50. Let's subtract to find the difference. The difference is 13. Now, does 25 go into 13? No, it does not. So we bring down the 7. 25 goes into 137. Okay, it does because it's bigger than 25. So now we have to figure out how many times. So I'm going to write out your 25 times groups to help you here. And if you're wondering how I know them so fast, think counting quarters in money. So 5 quarters is $1.25. 6 quarters is $1.50. Okay, 2 quarters is 50 cents. So that's how you can remember times 25. Okay, so 25 goes into 137. It'll be 5 times. Sometimes when you're doing double digits, it's helpful to write this on the side to help you. Okay, so 25 times 5 is 125. Now we subtract. 7 subtract 5 is 2. 3 subtract 3 tens, subtract 2 tens is 1 10, and 100 subtract 100 is 0 hundredths. So now, sorry if you can hear my family in the background, they're having fun. So now 25 goes into 12. How many times? 0 times. It does not fit, but I still have this 5 to bring down. So now I have 125. 25 goes into 125 5 times. 25 times 5 is 125. Let's subtract to find the difference. It's 0. All right, first one down. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so now we are going to do this one. I started this one and I'd written down the wrong number here, the wrong dividend. So I'm restarting, but you have the benefit of my handy dandy. I wrote out the pattern for 1 times 22 is 22, 2 times 22 is 44, etc. That's going to help us with our work. So 22 goes into 3, 0 times. 22 times 0 is 0. Subtract 3. Subtract to find a difference of 3. Bring down that 4. Now 22 goes into 34 1 times. 22 times 1 is 22. Now I subtract to find the difference. 4 subtract 2 is 2. 3 subtract 2 is 1. All right, 22 goes into 12 none times. So I bring down my 9. Now I have 129. Let's add a couple more groups of 22 to figure out. So 5 times 22 is, well, think 88 plus 20 is 100, and so 98, 108, and then 2 more, 110. And then 6 times 22, so we take 110 and we add 22 more. So 110, 120, 130, and 2, 132. All right, so now my marker's getting squeaky because it's old. Sorry, that might not sound great on the microphone. I know my facts. I know that 22 goes into 129 5 times. 22 times 5 is 110. Let's subtract to find the difference here. 9 subtract 0 is still 9. 2 subtract 1 is 1, and 1 subtract 1 subtract 1, 100 subtract 100 is 0, 100. Now, I can't do anything with this 19 here, so I go up and I bring down this 8, 198. Let's write out some more 22 times tables or groups of 22 to help you. We don't need to call the 22 times tables and memorize them, but okay, 132, 42, 52, counted up my tens, and now I count 53, 54, 154. All right, now 8 times, and some of you might be seeing a pattern here. Go with the pattern. I'm just going to slow it down for people who might be trying to figure out how I'm doing this. So 8 times 22, I start at this one and I count up 22. 54, 64, 74, and 2 more is 176. Now, using my pattern, I know that my next one, they're odd decades, even 1 spaces. So the 10 space is odd, and the even number is in the 1 space, and it's increasing by 2 each time. Okay, so my next one is going to be 198. I used my pattern, and I'm sure some of you started using the pattern up here too. I was modeling adding, but once you add and the pattern's really apparent, you can use your patterns too. Okay, that aside, I hope it did not distract you too much. Back to here, 22 goes into 198 9 times. 22 times 9 is 198, and we subtract to find the difference. Last double digit equation today, we're going to be working through last one, and it is 5,489 divided by 11. So our 11 times tables we have learned, okay, but we might not know all of them right away, but it's 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99. Goes like that, okay? That is our pattern. Let's try. You shouldn't need any more than those, but just in case. Let's figure it out. 11 goes into 5 0 times. 11 times 0 is 0. Subtract to find the difference. Bring down your next number. 11 goes into 54. Remember our 11 times tables. 11 goes into 54 4 times, because 11 times 5 is 55. It'll be 4 times. 11 times 4 is 44. Subtract to find the difference. The difference is 9. Now I bring down my 8. 11 goes into 98 8 times. 11 times 8 is 88. Subtract to find the difference. The difference is 9. I bring down this other 9. 11 goes into 99 9 times. 11 times 9 is 99. Subtract to find a difference of 0. We have no more numbers to divide, and we know that we don't have a remainder. So 5,489 divided by 11 is 489. All right, now we are doing something called what is comparing. So it says when we compare numbers, we can use greater than or less than symbols. So remember, greater than is this one, less than is this one. What I always tell kiddos when they're first learning this, and this rule will help you understand it, the crocodile is always facing the bigger number. So that's all you need to remember. I even drew teeth in it for you. So we're going to do greater than and less than. So 1,056, 1,065, that is the greater number. 63 and 71, that is the greater number. So the crocodile's opening up to that. 1,100, 1,000 is the greater number. Now I am going to have you, this here is review from things that you've learned in grade 2 and grade 3. And grade 4, I know that you can do these 4 on your own. So remember, the crocodile faces the bigger or the greater number. I'd like to see if you can do that on your own. All right, now, so all you're gonna do is make the crocodile eat the bigger number. So his mouth is opening to whichever is the bigger number. Again, you are going to do this on your own. Try it on your own. I'm curious to see if you can do it. If you can't, that's okay, but do your best. Now, let's use those symbols to compare fractions. First of all, shade in the parts to show the following fractions. So this is 3/5, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. I'm going to color in 1, 2, 3 of those pieces. 4/5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Which fraction is greater, 3/5 or 4/5? Well, 4/5 has more of the bar shaded. We can write it like this. 3/5 is greater or less than 4/5, or 4/5 is greater than 3/5. Okay? Now, for each set of fractions below, write a greater than or less than symbol. Shade the pictures to help you. So looking here, I have lots of different symbols here. And for each set of fractions below, write a greater than or less than symbol. So I am going to look at this, 8/9. So let's shade it in. There we go, or 5/9. Well, I can clearly see that 8/9 is greater than 5/9. All right, now, or 5/9 is less than 8/9. This one is 5/7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's hard to shade with this thing. Sorry. Yours is going to look way better than mine. And 3. 1, 2, 3. So 5/7 is greater than 3/7, or 3/7 is less than 5/7. Okay, now 8/8. This is really small. I'm going to zoom in. Sorry. I have to try and cram it in. I'm trying to save your printers. So I try not to put on your paper. So I try not to do too much, and I try to make my pages small, but trying also to make sure you can see it. So 8/8, which is the whole, or 3/8. Well, 8/8, the crocodile's going to eat that one. 8/8 is greater than 3/8. All right. Now this one, I'm going to do 2 more, and then I am going to have you try this, and then you are going to send me a picture of your work, and I can see if you're getting this. So I'm going to do 2 more, and then I'm going to have you try on your own. So 5/5, or 1, 2, 3, 4/5. Now, 5/5 or 4/5. 5/5 is the greater. It's the whole. That those numerators are the same, and the top number, the denominator, 5 is greater. If we look at our fractions, we can see that. Okay, now on to the next one. This is the last one I'm going to do, and then I'm going to have you try some on your own. Remember, you're going to send me a picture of your work so I can see how you're doing. Okay, 2/6 and 5/6. So I'm going to color in 2 of my 6, and then I'm going to color in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5/6, the crocodile is going to be facing that. 2/6 is less than 5/6. 5/6 is greater than 2/6. You can say both of those things about this sentence. Now, you're going to move on here. You're shading in the fractions, and then you're writing which one's greater than, less than. Okay, use the diagrams to help you. Remember that the crocodile is going to face the bigger fraction. So just let me zoom out. When you send me your work, you can let me know how you found this. What do you think? Was it easy? Was it hard? Easy? Or maybe it's still challenging? Or I hope not, but maybe it made you cry. I'm joking because I know all of you can do this. Don't cry over math, guys. Because I'm here to help you if you get really stuck. Send me a message. Okay, so this one I'm going to switch to the whiteboard view for. Hopefully you aren't as tired and unimpressed by this lesson as my dogs are. They are very tired and very unimpressed, but that's okay. Let's focus on this multiplication. I'm going to make sure you can see my board. So I'm going to use partial products for these. You all can use whatever strategy works for you. The reason I'm using partial products is there are some people who still really benefit from seeing it broken down in little short pieces like that. If you are a grandma and grandpa's way person, you can go for that too. All right, so that means I'm multiplying each one of these by 6 and each one of them by 60. So I'm going to do the 6's first. So 9 times 6. 9 times 6 is 54. So I just write 54. And you want to keep your tens and your ones and your hundreds in a line. Otherwise it gets confusing. 6 times 20. So just put a 0 there and do 6 times 2, which is 120. Or 12, sorry. So it's 120. Now 6 times 600. We're working with the hundreds. So just put 2 zeros there and do 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. All right, so I've done my multiplying for 6. Now I have to do 60. So 60 times 9. Okay, so I put a 0 there right away because I'm working with 60. This means 60. 60 times 9 is 54 with a 0 in the end. Now for this one here, I'm multiplying in the tens with a 10. So I'm going to put 2 zeros. 6 times 2 is 12. Okay, now I'm multiplying a 10 by 100. So, yep, there's my 10. And there's my 100. Those are holding my place. Now I can just go 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, now I'm going to add this all up because I use the partial product strategy. I have 4 ones. I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then I have 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 15. 15. Now I have 1 and 3 is 4. 1 more is 5. 5 and 6 is 11. And 4. So I have 41,514. 1 times 34. So same thing, I'm going to do partial products. If you have a different strategy that you are more comfortable with, use that. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 30, put the 0 there. 4 times 30. I put the 0 there, so I just have to think 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, now I go to my next one. 4 times 200. We're timesing in the 100. So we put the 2 zeros there and just think 4 times 2 is 8. Just trying to get these in line, but also have enough room for all of the numbers that are coming. So now I've multiplied my 4 by 1 spot, 10 spot, 100 spot. I move on to my 30. Now remember, this is not 3, it's 30 times 1, 30 times 30, 30 times 200. So I go 30 times 1 is 30. Now, 30 times 30, I have a 10. This is in the 10 spot, and this is in the 10 spot, so I'm going to put 2 zeros, because I have a 10 multiplied by a 10. And then I just go 3 times 3 is 9. Then I move on to my 100 spot. I have 30 times 200. So 30 is a 10, and 200 has 2 zeros. That's the easiest way to explain it. You just put the zeros there. Just like when we used to write them out when we were doing base 10. Same thing. Okay, so now I go 30 times 200. I already have my zeros there, so I can just go 3 times 2 is 6. Now I add them all together. 4, 2 and 3 is 5, 8 and 1 is 9, and then I can double that 9 because I have another 9. I have 18. I have 7,854. Okay, so box window method. The box window method is something that some of you are really comfortable with. So I just thought I'd show you how you could use it. If what I'm showing you with partial products is really stressing you out, then just have a look here, because this is a way to kind of show you it expanded out. So when I look at this, I've made a box window. If you just notice, I have an extra, usually it's just 4 squares. I added an extra row of squares on both sides. So it's now 3 by 3. I'm doing a 2-digit number and a 3-digit number here. So in the place of the hundreds, I just put a 0. So I have 746, 746. I have a 0 where the hundreds are, and then a 50 and then a 6. So I'm going to show you how you can use this for box window, okay? So 0 is just going to be a 0 because anything times 0 is 0. That whole row, it's just a placeholder. Now, 700 times 50. Again, you use your two zeros and 1 0, just like you did with box window before. 7 times 5 is 35. Okay, then you use your 6 times 700. So 2 zeros, because we're timesing by 0, we're multiplying by 0. I'm saying that word a lot. 7 times 6 is 42. Okay, so I just used my zeros and did that. Now I go down here. 40 times 50, I have 2 zeros. So I have two multiples of 10, so it's the 2 zeros there. 4 times 5 is 20. Now I have this one. Okay, I'm multiplying with 1 multiple of 10. 6 times 4 is 24. Now here, 6 times 50, 1 multiple of 6. So 5 times 6 is 30, or sorry, 1 multiple of 10. Not multiple of 6. I've got too many things in my head right now. Slow down, Mrs. Oaks. It's all good. And then 6 times 6 is 36. So now, just like when you do box window method with a smaller number, you just add them all up. This is just like partial products, but I hope this helped you see what we're doing here. Okay, so this is the same strategy as partial products. The box and the window just help you organize your thoughts and your numbers. So I'm just going to move the board so you can see where I'm going to add, and we'll add these all together and figure out our final product. So I have 35,000. Maybe just put a check mark so you know you've added the number. I have 2,000. Remember, my rule for this, you keep your tens and ones and all your place values in a line so you don't get confused. I have 300. I have 36. 240. 4,200. Okay, now I add these together and let's find out what we have. 0, 0, 0, 6. Okay, 3 and 4, so 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 5, 6, 7. 5 and 2 is 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. And then, so my total is 41,776. Now, partial products fans, if you use partial products or Grandma and Grandpa's way to figure this out, you should have the same product as I have here. Now for our last part of our math today, we're going to be comparing fractions with the same denominator. So the same denominator means that the bottom number, I'm just trying to get this straight, I don't know why it's so wonky today. The same denominator means that the same number is on the bottom. So for this one, it says to use a spinner. And here's a test of who has been going through my drawer and whether or not I have I do not have a paper clip handy, but I have a bobby pin handy. Use what you got, guys. So I have a hairpin. You can use a paper clip, whatever works. There's my hairpin, and I'm just gonna spin it. So you put your pen, I guess you can't see. I'm gonna take my pen or pencil and I put it here. Whatever you have that you can spin, it can be a paper clip, a hair clip, or something similar. All right, 4/8 is my first one, and I'm gonna show you the first couple of these, and then I'm gonna get you to do it. So my first one is 4/8, 4 out of 8. Okay, and now I'm gonna spin again. 7/8. So do you see how these two are being compared? So I'm gonna use 7/8. Now I have to decide. Circle, and yours are going to be different because you're spinning. So these are all going to look different, and I can't wait to see them. So I have 4/8 and 7/8, right? And I have to decide which one's bigger. Okay, well, my denominators are the same. So I'm just comparing this top number. Imagine, like we just did, how many of that fraction are shaded in. So 4/8 and 7/8. 7/8 is going to be bigger. The crocodile's teeth are facing 7/8. Okay, I'm going to do one more here, and then I'm going to ask you to try it on your own. So here are the steps. The first thing, if it helps you, I know some kids get distracted by all of these blocks. Circle them off so you know where you're writing your numbers. So each one of these is a comparison. So you're going to spin this spinner a few times here, 16 times to be exact. and you're going to come up with 16 different fractions. Doesn't really matter where you put them. If you want to spin it 16 times and write them anywhere, you can. If you're like me, I like to work one at a time. Maybe I'll spin 2 fractions, compare them, move on to the next one. So all you're doing is you're going to put your pen in the middle. If you don't have a spinner, you could even just close your eyes and put your finger on one. Close your eyes and put your finger on one. Doesn't have to be a spinner. Spinners are fun, but if you don't have anything to make a spinner, close your eyes, put your finger on a fraction. Close your eyes, put your finger on a fraction. Close your eyes, put your finger on a fraction. Do it that way. Really doesn't matter how you do it, guys. It'll be okay. Just pick random fractions. All right. 2/8. So again, I'd go to wherever I'm working next. I'd write 2/8. Nice and neat so your teacher can read it. Then I'm going to spin again. And I'm going to do 6/8. So I put my fractions in there. The next thing you're going to do, let me zoom in a bit. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my fractions. Okay, 2/8 and 6/8. If I have to draw them out, I can. You could draw a chocolate bar, 8 pieces, or you can just imagine, okay, these are the same. They're broken into the same number of pieces. 2 pieces versus 6 pieces. 6 pieces is greater. So I'm going to have the crocodile facing the 6. 6/8. All right, you're going to do this now on your own, and I cannot wait to see your work. Remember, you're going to send it to me using, just take a picture of it and send a message, an email, or a dojo, even a dojo message, a Teams message, however you want to get it to me. So what you're going to do, I'm going to go through the steps one more time. You can always rewind the video and watch me do it. I'm not going to do this actual whole thing, but you're getting whatever your spinner is, or you're just pointing, closing your eyes and pointing fractions. Okay, we're at home, we're doing our best. You're spinning, so 7/8, 6/8, I would write 7/8, 6/8, and I would circle which one was bigger. Okay, comparing, using that greater than, less than, okay? You're gonna finish this. I'm moving on to the next part, but you are gonna finish this and send me a picture of it because you know how to do this. Rewind the video, go over my instructions until it makes sense. Okay, which is greater than, write a greater than or less than symbol for each set of fractions. So this is the set, like these two on either side of the box is what they're talking about. So you're comparing the one on this side of the box to the one on that side of the box. Now, for this one, I'm gonna do the first row. And then again, I wanna see you do it. I wanna see what you're doing, how you're going with this, and if this is making sense to you, okay? So again, don't ask the people at home to do it for you. You are gonna do it. If you need a better explanation, go back, rewind the video, watch it. I'm gonna break it down step by step. So write a greater than or less than symbol for each set of fractions. So these all have the same denominator. I have 5/11 or 8/11. So I really just look at this top number. Well, 8 is greater than 5, so the crocodile is gonna eat the 8. Again, do your best. If you get some of these wrong, it is not a big deal. That just tells me that we need to keep working on it. Okay, 3/4 and 2/4, again, my denominators are the same. What's greater, 3 or 2? 3. Crocodile can go that way. Okay, 1/3 or 2/3, well, 2 is greater than 1. Crocodile can go that way. My last one on my top row that I'm gonna do, and you are gonna do the rest of these. 5/10 or 7/10, well, 7/10 is greater than 5/10, so. All right, so again, you're just looking and seeing which one's greater. Your crocodile is eating the bigger fraction, okay? He's hungry. He wants the bigger piece of the chocolate bar or the pizza or the pie. If you need to draw these out, you can. I would love to see your own work. If you get super stuck, send me a message and I will help you out. But all you're doing is looking at your 2 fractions. You can visualize them. You can think, okay, 1/3 of a pizza or 2/3 of a pizza. A pizza cut into 3 pieces. Here is what 1/3 would look like. Here is what 2/3 looks like. 2/3 is bigger, so the crocodile is eating the 2/3. If you have to draw it out, draw it out. Whatever works for you. Make sure you make a comment on the side with a smiley face. I like this, I don't like this, this is hard, this was great, this was okay, this was terrible. okay? So that I know I want to see your own work. Do your work, do your best. If you're making mistakes, that is good information for me, okay? So don't hide your mistakes. If you really can't do it, just make your best guess based on what we've talked about, okay? So I want to see your own work, your best work, and don't worry, it's just like math class. If you make a mistake, that's okay. That's more for me to know, so I know that's something I have to keep teaching you, okay? If you're not getting something in math, that just means you need to keep practicing, and I need to teach it to you in a different way. Just like in math class, remember? No stress over math. Okay, because you're all gonna get it. Just takes some people's brains longer to learn it, and that's okay. Remember my long division story. Long division took me an entire week on spring break of doing nothing else but practicing long division until I got it. And then I got it, and then I have it, and I love it. Okay, same thing. If you're not getting something, just keep working at it. I'm not saying spend your whole spring break on it. Please don't do that. But keep practicing, keep persevering. Now, for the last part, it says write the fractions in order from least to greatest. Okay? So we just look here, they all have the same denominator. So all I'm gonna do is look at the top numbers. Okay, 1/5, well that's my least one for sure. Not 1/2, Mrs. Oaks. 1/5, I'm gonna put a comma, I'll put a line through that. Now I look at my next biggest one, okay, 2/5. I'll put a line through that one. You can pause the video and do this on your own if you're getting it. If you need some more help, keep following along. Okay, comma. Okay, my next greatest fraction is going to be 3/5. And my next one is 4/5. And my last one, 5/5. One whole. That'd be the whole thing, a whole enchilada. Okay, now it says write two fractions that have the same denominator. Okay, oh, they're the denominator of 8, and they're less than 5/8. So I'm gonna let you try this one. You are gonna think up two fractions that are gonna be, okay, they're both gonna be out of 8. That's what a denominator is, it's the bottom number. So both of these fractions are out of 8. Both of them have a denominator of 8. And the numerator, the top number, is gonna be less than 5. So think of two fractions where the top number, the numerator, is less than 5. My denominator is 8, my bottom number, set it up just like this, and then just think of two fractions where your numerator, your top number is less than 5. Okay, and again, this is something I want you to try on your own so I can see if you're getting it. So set it up like this and put your numerators that are less than 5. All right. There you go, you did it. I can't wait to see how you do with this sheet, with this fraction sheet. Remember, making mistakes in math is okay. There's no such thing as somebody who can't learn math. It's just we all learn it in different ways. So some people pick it up super fast, some people need more time. But I know all of you are gonna get it. Think back to long division. Think back to how we felt when we started that. Okay, some of you said, I will never get this and it is terrible. And then I said, don't worry, you'll get it, because I felt the same way and I persevered. It's that productive struggle. So do your best, show me what you got. I can't wait to see it. Remember, you just sended me a picture. So I would just zoom out, send a picture, make sure it's clear-ish. Send it to me on Teams or Class Dojo. Okay, thanks grade 5. That wasn't so bad, was it? You did it. All right. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on Teams or Class Dojo. If it is possible to take a picture of your math today, just take a picture, put some notes on there of things that were easy, things that were hard, anything you want me to know about your math learning as I begin to move on to new concepts. Let me know how it's going with your math. Okay, so just do a little bit of a smiley face, a grumpy face, I like this, and send me a picture with your comments of your work, please. All right? Thank you for that. I look forward to seeing them. Have a wonderful day.